Assalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh. First of all, I would like to express my thanks to Allah Subhanahu wa Ta'ala for His grace and guidance. We are from Group A. My name is Elvira Indarahayu. With my official number is A1M2 2411 and 3. The first speaker and my friends are Nurul Safa Hikmah Maulia and Salsi Amalia Sukur. We will present our material is about teaching English for specific purposes. Okay, let's get straight to it. This material contains the meaning of ESP principles and strategies, along with examples and direct application. Also, English for specific purposes is an approach to teaching English that focuses on the specific needs and goals of learners in particular fields of professions. ESP is designed to help learners use English effectively in their academic, professional, or vocational contexts. ESP courses are usually based on learners' need analysis, meaning the materials, vocabulary, and skill taught are directly related to their target situations, such as business, medicine, engineering, law, or tourism. Satu contoh implementasinya itu dalam student studying nursing takes an English for nursing course to learn how to communicate with patients, understand medical instructions, and write reports in English used in hospitals. So, the beginning of the emergence of ESP was because sejarah awal mula munculnya ESP itu setelah Perang Dunia Kedua, yang dimana global economic development, perdagangan internasional, and advance in science and technology create a need for more functional and contextual English language teaching. This is where ESP emerged. According to Hutchinson and Waters, tahun 1987, ESP developed due to three main factors. First, the demands of a new world. Second, a revolution in linguistics. And third, a new focus in learner psychology. One important historical factors that accelerate the development of ESP was the oil crisis pada tahun 1970-an, when many Western experts worked in the Middle East. This encouraged local communities to learn technical English, especially in the fields of oil and gas. This led to the emergence of various branches of ESP, such as English for oil and gas purposes and English for science and technology. Materi ini akan membahas yang pertama itu prinsip dari ESP teaching. Itu memuat need analysis, goal-oriented learning, authenticity, and learner-centered. Yang pertama itu, saya akan membahas dulu yang pertama itu need analysis. Need analysis di sini contoh dalam dunia medis, dunia kesehatan, seperti mahasiswa kedokteran atau calon dokter akan mewawancara calon pasien, dan mereka akan menggunakan bahasa seperti awal gejala apa dari sakit yang Anda rasakan. Kemudian akan mengobservasi di rumah sakit di mana tempat calon dokter ini bekerja dan diskusi dengan manajer rumah sakit. And then like what types of communication mahasiswa kedokteran use most often in English. This allows calon dokter untuk komunikasi dengan calon pasien, write brief medical reports in English, and provide verbal medical instruction. One of the example in situasi nyata di Indonesia itu contohnya seperti dalam bidang pelayaran, seorang kadet atau taruna itu is training on an international ship and mereka itu harus bisa berbicara bahasa Inggris dengan kru asing dari berbagai belahan negara. Contoh percakapannya itu seperti Cadet said, "Captain, visibility is low due to heavy rain." Captain said, "Okay, keep monitoring every 20 minutes." Cadet said, "Okay, Captain." And okay, karakteristik dalam ESP-nya itu dia menggunakan kata seperti visibility. Nah, the language is used for professional purposes, not general conversation. Nah, kegiatan ESP di pelatihan dalam pelajaran itu menggunakan terdiri dari 4. Yang pertama itu listening, listening to support communication. Second, speaking, simulating emergency situation. Third, reading a ship safety manual. And last, writing, keeping a logbook. Nah, tujuannya itu di situ dia memungkinkan seafarers to communicate effectively and safely in an international work environment. Nah, seperti yang saya bilang tadi, itu ada satu kata kuncinya, yaitu visibility. Nah, visibility di sini dia means distance in maritime navigation. This term is used to indicate how far one can see at sea. For example, visibility is low due to fog. Artinya di situ dia jarak pandang terhalang oleh kabut. In the medical field, ESP is implemented through English for medical purposes or EMP. So, according to Brown 2001, teaching should begin with an analysis of students' needs to ensure the material is relevant to their academic context. Sedangkan menurut Al-Harbi pada tahun 2005, studies showed that medical students in Saudi Arabia require specialized English courses for medical vocabulary and clinical communication skills. Okay, that concludes my explanation. My partner Nurul Safa Hikmah Maulia will continue as the second speaker. Thank you for your attention.
Hello everyone, my name is Nurul Safa Hikmah Maulia with official number A1M224111. So I will explain about principles of ESP teaching. First, needs analysis. Needs analysis is the first and most important step in ESP teaching. Jadi sebelum guru membuat materi ESP, hal pertama yang harus dilakukan adalah menganalisis kebutuhan siswa atau identify what students really need. Why? Because every student has different goals and context. We analyze for four main things. First, professional goals. Jadi, apa tujuan karakter mereka? Misalnya bekerja di bidang kedokteran, teknik, atau pariwisata. Second, academic needs. Misalnya, untuk menulis jurnal, memahami teks ilmiah, atau presentasi seminar. And then third, a work or study environment. Jadi, bagaimana bahasa Inggris digunakan di tempat kerja atau kampus mereka. And the last, students' current level. Jadi, seberapa jauh kemampuan bahasa mereka saat ini. And let's take an example. An ESP teacher teaches English for nursing. Before making materials, the teacher does several things. First, interviews with students to know what language they need in their job. Second, observations, visiting hospitals to see real English use. Third, discussions with hospital managers to find out what types of English communication are most common. From this process, the teacher finds that nurses need to communicate with foreign patients, write short medical reports, and give medical instructions in English. So, needs analysis helps the teacher create materials that are relevant, realistic, and useful for students' actual needs. Second, goal-oriented learning. In ESP, learning is not general, it is goal-oriented. In general English, students learn all language skills in a broad way, speaking, reading, listening, writing, without a specific purpose. But in ESP, learning is goal-oriented. Every activity is designed to achieve a specific professional or academic goal. Material are designed for specific skill, such as writing medical reports. For example, in English for hotel staff, the learning goals are to welcome international guests, yaitu menyambut tamu internasional, and then handle reservations in English, atau menangani pemesanan atau reservasi dalam bahasa Inggris, and explain hotel facilities clearly, yaitu menjelaskan fasilitas hotel dengan sopan dan jelas. To reach those goals, the learning activities are very practical. Role play for the check-in process, simulation of answering the phone for reservations, and writing tasks like sending confirmation emails to guests. So, goal-oriented learning helps ESP students learn what they really need, nothing less, nothing more. Third, authenticity. Authenticity means using real text and situations from everyday life. Jadi dalam ESP, guru tidak hanya menggunakan teks dari buku, tetapi juga authentic materials, seperti manual produk asli, video presentasi perusahaan, atau email profesional. This helps students recognize language as it is used in the real world, not just in academic or artificial context. For example, in English for engineers, the teacher uses original product manuals, not fabricated, and then technical videos from companies, and then real emails between engineers with identities hidden. For the activities include reading and interpreting manuals, analyzing technical emails and writing replies, and creating technical presentations. So, authenticity makes learning more real, contextual, and motivating, and authentic materials bring the real world into the classroom. And the last principle of ESP teaching is learner-centered approach in ESP. Learner-centered means the focus of teaching is on the students, not just the teacher. In ESP, the teacher's role is not primarily as a knowledge provider, but as a facilitator, someone who guides and supports students' learning. Kenapa? Karena siswa ESP atau English for Specific Purposes biasanya sudah ahli di bidangnya sendiri, seperti hukum, teknik, atau kedokteran. Mereka pasti tahu kontennya, dan guru hanya membantu dari sisi bahasanya. And this approach uses the learners as a means for identifying the target situation, the objective, materials, and evaluations of the course. The student plays no further part in the process of syllabus design. It also develops problem solving, critical, and reflective thinking skills. Jadi pembelajaran seperti ini lebih bersifat individual dan kontekstual, yang artinya disesuaikan dengan kebutuhan serta situasi nyata siswa. For example, English for law class. In an English for law class, the students are already familiar with legal concepts in Indonesian. So the teacher encourages them to bring real legal cases they are studying, explain legal terms in English to their classmates, discuss the differences between common law and civil law systems. The teacher only provides the language structure and guides the discussion process, while the student actively explore the material. In a learner-centered class, students don't just retrieve knowledge, they create it. Jadi dengan pendekatan ini, pembelajaran jadi lebih aktif, relevan, dan bermakna karena siswa benar-benar terlibat dan menghubungkan bahasa dengan pengalaman profesional mereka. In conclusion, the four principles of ESP, needs analysis, goal-oriented learning, authenticity, and learner-centered approach work together to make learning relevant, practical, and meaningful. So that is my explanation, and my friend will continue as the last speaker.
Oke, bismillahirrahmanirrahim. Assalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh. My name is Selsi Amelia Syukur with student number A1M224112. Today I will talk about strategies for teaching ESP. Itu adalah pembelajaran bahasa Inggris yang disesuaikan dengan bidang tertentu seperti English for Nurses, English for Business, atau English for Tourists. Nah, di presentasi ini saya akan menjelaskan 4 strategi utama dalam mengajar ESP beserta contoh-contohnya. Yang pertama, task-based learning. The first strategy is task-based learning. Jadi metode ini fokus pada kegiatan nyata atau real life test. Misalnya simulasi rapat bisnis, wawancara kerja, atau dokter patient role play. Tujuannya itu agar supaya mahasiswa belajar bahasa Inggris dalam konteks yang mirip dengan dunia kerja mereka. For the example, contohnya dalam kelas English for Nurse, siswa bisa melakukan percakapan antara perawat dan pasien. Misalnya, how are you feeling today? Atau please take a deep breath. Dengan begitu, siswa bisa pakai bahasa Inggris secara alami sesuai situasi nyata. So, test-based learning helps them improve their communication skill and confidence at the same time. And the second strategy is content-based instruction. Kalau strategi ini fokusnya adalah mengajarkan bahasa Inggris lewat materi atau konten bidang tertentu. Dia itu mengajarkan bukan saja dari bidang tertentu, tapi juga memakai gambar. Grammar, for example, in English for Engineering, siswa belajar bahasa Inggris sambil membaca teks tentang mesin, atau menulis laporan proyek. Kalau di English for Tourists, mereka bisa belajar lewat artikel tentang destinasi wisata atau menulis deskripsi tempat wisata. Jadi di sini student learn both the content and the language at the same time. They use English to achieve meaningful goals seperti menulis laporan, melakukan riset, atau komunikasi profesional. The third strategy is communication language teaching, atau sering kita disebut dengan CLT. Pendekatan ini fokus pada kemampuan mahasiswa untuk berkomunikasi dalam bahasa target. Jadi bukan sekedar menghafal grammar atau vocabulary list, tapi bagaimana mereka bisa berbicara dan memahami makna. Contohnya di English for Tourists, siswa bisa latihan percakapan antara tour guide and turis asing. Misalnya, this beach is very popular because of its clear weather. Itu biasanya dalam CLT adalah kegiatan seperti role play, discussion, atau problem solving task. This activity make learning more interactive and enjoyable. Jadi siswa mungkin lebih berani dan percaya diri menggunakan English language. The fourth strategy is scaffolding and input hypothesis. Nah, di strategi ini, guru membantu siswa secara bertahap sampai mereka bisa mandiri. Scaffolding itu artinya guru kasih bantuan langkah demi langkah, kayak tangga yang membantu siswa untuk naik perlahan. Sedangkan input hipotesis dari Krashen bilang bahwa siswa bisa belajar bahasa kalau mereka menerima input sedikit di atas kemampuan mereka sekarang. Ada 5 langkah dalam metode ini. Yang pertama itu pre-teaching vocabulary, guru memperkenalkan kosakata penting sebelum tugas dimulai. Dan yang kedua, use the off-graphic organis, pakai gambar table atau map untuk bantu memahami para siswa. Yang ketiga, sentence frames or language support. Guru kasih kalimat pembuka supaya siswa tahu cara mulai berbicara. Contohnya, the patient is suffering from, dan yang contoh keempat, middling the text. Guru memperagakan dulu baru siswa meniru. Misalnya, contoh guru contohkan percakapan dokter dan pasien. Gradual release of responsibility. Setelah siswa paham, guru mulai lepas kendali sedikit demi sedikit sampai siswa bisa bekerja sendiri. Dengan ini, cara siswa belajar lebih percaya diri dan mengerti pelajaran secara mendalam. Maybe just it for me. Thank you very much. Wassalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh.